Blog Talk Radio.
You follow mama's rules, gotta be a good little girl. Once you hit 18, the light turns green, wanna get wild on the world. Her and her friends are getting mad, got their own party pad. Everybody saying hell yeah, come on, it's on. It's off the chain, crazy, insane, hillbilly party with the whole damn gang, flipping out of the news, cutting loose, raising all kinds of cane. Brother, it's off the chain. There's a DJ throwing down, got a crowd dancing to the speakers cranked out in the yard. There's a whole nother bunch drinking moonshine punch. They get a little louder by the jar. Sweet little innocent child, got them all going wild. Hey, you can hear them for a country mile, finally singing their own damn song. And it's off the chain, crazy, insane, hillbilly party with the whole damn gang, slipping out of the news, cutting loose, raising all kinds of cane. Brother, it's off the chain. This is Officer Joe Friday responding to the 415 at 34th Brickyard Road. We've also got a 390 and a 314. We've seen parties before, but this ain't nothing like we've ever seen. It's off the chain, crazy, insane, hillbilly party with the whole damn gang, slipping out of the news, cutting loose, raising all kinds of cane. It's off the chain, crazy, insane, a hillbilly party with the whole damn gang, slipping out of the news, cutting loose, raising all kinds of cane. Brother, it's off the chain. Brother, it's off the chain. Off the chain, 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 off the chain.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and as you all know by that song Off the Chain by Jamie Lee Parsons, which has now become my second mantra, this is Off the Chain. I'm your host, Yvonne Mason, and it is Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. I want to welcome all of you to the show. Now, I know y'all get sick of hearing me say this, but too bad, because y'all have all been with me for 2 years. And when we started this show, I was happy with 5,000 listeners. I was happy with 10,000. And as it kept climbing, I was happy with whatever was out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at the north side of 130,000 listeners just on the show. Yeah, I said it, 130,000 listeners. The show is 2 years old this month. To say that I am grateful, humbled, and appreciative, that's not enough words. And I know y'all say, well, Yvonne, you tell us this every night. Yes, I do, and I do for a reason, because I am very grateful. And it's like I tell y'all every night, this is not my show. It is all of your show. It's you, the listener. It's the guest. It's everybody else that is involved in this show that keeps coming back night after night, sharing the show, listening to the show, passing the show along, sending me guests because y'all believe in the show, and I appreciate it. Now, there's two ways to get on this show. You can come on as a guest, or you can become a sponsor for the show. And all of y'all know I tell you this every night. I'm not in it to get rich. I don't want to get rich. I just want to help each and every one of you succeed. So for $10 for 30 days, whether I run 4 shows, 10 shows, 12 shows, whatever shows I run in that month, and most of the time I run 16 shows because I run Wednesday through Saturday night unless I have to reschedule because y'all know my husband is very, very ill. The ad goes with the show. So for 30 days, for $10, I will do your ad for this show. All y'all have to do, either to be on the show or to run an ad on the show, is to contact me at offthechainradio@yahoo.com, or if you're my friend on Facebook, send me a message, because I have all kinds of people on this show. I have musicians, I have authors, I have politicians, I have people with a passion, people with a cause, people that just want to bitch. I'll talk about anything from religion to politics, and in the South, that is a big taboo. You don't discuss religion and politics, but I don't care. I'll discuss it. I mean, if we don't have an open communication and open dialogue, we're all going to be dumb as a bag of rocks. Even if we agree to disagree, we have to be open to discussion without the vitriol, without the hate, without the defensive posture, without the mudslinging. We just have a conversation. So with that being said, I want to do real quick housekeeping, because we're heard in over 200 countries now, and we have well over 200,000 listeners with all the podcasts. And those of y'all that know, we are on Stitcher, we are on FM.com, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Reverb Nation, Podcast.com, Podcast Garden, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud and Mixcloud. That's just the ones I know about. I just found 2 more today that I don't put it up on. Somebody else does. They're on my Facebook page. Go and check them out. So I want to say thank you to Australia, because not only are they the biggest listeners on this show at 90-some-odd%, they helped one of the authors that has been on this show, who is also a sponsor for the show, become #1 in Australia. Her name is Diane Mote, and she has a series of books called the Sam Holden series. And Sam Holden, as our favorite vigilante, is back. The 3rd book in the series has just been released. In Dog Bones, Sam's quest to avenge abused animals is threatened when the FBI comes after her on one side and the commissioner wants her dead on the other side. Will her double life be exposed? Will she be able to protect the animals, her friends, and herself? Check out Dog Bones by Diane Mote everywhere ebooks are sold. And if you haven't started the series yet, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to begin with Doggone by Diane Mote, and now it is free on Amazon. That's the 1st in the series. The 2nd in the series is Dog Fight, and the 3rd in the series is Dog Bone. But don't go now, because we're just getting started. Also, another gentleman that has been on this show, who will be on the show again, his name is John Isaac Jones. And he has a short story book also available on Kindle, called Alabama Stories. And the fun thing about these short stories is they're written from the perspective of a 12-year-old boy growing up in middle Alabama in the 1950s, early 60s. And if you know anything about rural Alabama, even to this day, some areas of that state are still so poor that I don't even know how those people get out of their own way, much less scratch out a living. And that's called Alabama Stories by John Isaac Jones. It is a fun and entertaining read. And before we get started, our last ad before we get started, author J. Traveler Pelton, who has also been on this show, she has a series called the Oberlin Trilogy. And the first in the series is The Infant Conspiracy. In 2018, the Oberlins are a shadow family, and the parents, Noel and Violet, along with their children, are very close-knit. They all work in the family firm. The children are supposed to take over the firm after the brothers return from their hitch with Uncle Sam so the parents can retire. But things go south real fast when a savage virus is turned loose on the unsuspecting public. Join the Oberlins as they set out to make the world a safer place. That is the Oberlin trilogy. The first in the series is The Infant Conspiracy by J. Traveler Pelton. And with that being said, I want to welcome a guest tonight who is absolutely hysterical. This woman, she should do stand-up comedy if she's not already doing it. Her name is Amy Lyle, and she is an author. And after being a corporate trainer for 15 years, she went into shock when she got remarried and was trying to blend 2 households, 4 kids, 2 dogs, and several guinea pigs. Luckily, Amy saw the humor in all of it and wrote the Amy Vinegar Lyle Book of Failures. The funny memoir opens with, I've been married for 20 years. Not to the same people, but 20 years nonetheless. The book has been a bestseller on Amazon for over a year, sitting next to some of her heroes like Trevor Noah, David Sedaris, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and Jenny Lawson. She enjoys being Amy enjoys being a public speaker on the topic, Why I Shared My Most Mortifying Moments and Why You Should Too, which has a message of seeing the humor in our failures and being more authentic in a very filtered world. She's a regular on Atlanta's popular morning show, Atlanta and Company, and is a frequent guest on radio and podcast. She just starred in her first movie short, The Interviewers. The film was written and directed by Atlanta filmmaker Sam Juergens. Amy's own film, #Fake Mom, which is a Bridesmaids meets Bad Moms female-centric comedy, is in development with executive producer Suzanne Jurva. Welcome, Amy, and I'm sorry my tongue got tied, but it's that time of day.
Hello. That was the nicest intro I've ever received, ever.
Are you serious?
So sweet.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is something Amy doesn't know about me yet, but she will soon learn. I only speak the facts, ma'am.
Yeah, I like that. And you know what? I do stand-up comedy.
See? How did I know that?
I know. The book kind of reads a little bit like stand-up comedy, little vignettes. You know, if you were a Saturday Night Live fan, you know, it's kind of little vignettes like that. But I love stand-up comedy, and there's certainly a timing, you know, to stand-up comedy. And I hope to do more of it. Our kids are getting older, and, you know, they're more independent, so I hope to do more stand-up comedy. But I'm so lucky to get to use that and MC, you know, charity events and stuff like that. So I really enjoy it.
And the thing, and like you said, with stand-up comedy, timing is everything. The thing that just ran through my head like a marathon runner is I'm seeing Henny Youngman stand up and saying, "Take my wife, please," and it never failed to get a laugh.
Yes, I know. That's a famous line. That's so funny.
And it was the timing of that pause, and people knew it was coming, but you had to laugh because it was always funny.
Yes, and comedy is so personal. You know, I love Jimmy Fallon, who he starts to giggle. Ron White, also famous comedian, starts to giggle before he gives you the punchline, and it just makes me giggle that he giggles. You know, and I like Jim Gaffigan's funny voices. You know, I love Kevin Hart and his. I love stories about, you know, his family, and that's the funniest thing, right? When people tell the truth about their upbringing and how funny that is. That's what's the best thing about comedy is usually it comes from, you know, your heart. It comes from some pain and suffering.
Well, and back to Ron White, he's known for two things. I had the right to remain silent, but I did not have the ability.
And he's Atlanta. He lives right here. Yeah.
And so is Jeff Foxworthy. Jeff
Foxworthy is so funny too.
His children went to Greater Atlanta Christian School, which is where my father helped build that school years ago in Gwinnett County.
Oh, wonderful.
And Jeff Foxworthy's children went to that school. So the man is just amazing in his own right, and he also knows how to deliver.
Yes, and he does a lot of good things for our city. I mean, he does a lot of good things for the world, but he does a lot of good things for Atlanta. We love him. We love Jeff Foxworthy.
And ladies and gentlemen, she's not even a native Atlantean. I mean,
I'm not.
She's a transplant, but we'll adopt her because her husband is, and she just fits right in with us. You would think she was from Georgia the way she's behaving. I mean, she just...
I was shocked with all that yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and did you go to church on Sunday? I was shocked with that because I'm from the North, and now I just, oh my goodness, if my kids did not say yes, ma'am, I would just have a heart attack. It's,
of course
I like
would.
it. I like the formality. I mean, some people, they don't like it. It's off-putting. But if you knew people's intentions were, just to be respectful to elders, and I like the idea behind it.
I even say
I like
yes,
the Southern.
ma'am, and no, ma'am too. If like if I'm at McDonald's.
I do too. Thank you, ma'am. Sure.
There's a kid behind the counter, and they're asking me a question. I'll say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. I say it's respect. Just take it, go with it. Just understand it's not being a smartass. It's being respectful. Because my grandmother would rise up, both of them would rise up from their graves and beat my ass.
Exactly. So I like it. But I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Ohio, so they're pretty down to earth people. They're not they're known for being very authentic and nice. They're very nice people in Ohio, sure.
And
I have to give a shout out to my home state.
One can almost say that Ohio borders on Southern because Ohioans have some Southern ways in that they are respectful. They're down to earth. What you see is what you get. They don't put on airs.
No, they do not. What's so funny, Yvonne, is my husband is native Atlanta, and, Sherman, of course, is Ohio. He just gives him a heart attack. And so when he introduces me to people, he always says I'm from Southern Ohio to East the Blow. He's like, she's from Southern Ohio. I'm like, okay.
Well, you got to understand, we down in the South, we never got over the War of Northern Aggression.
That is true. Okay, this is such a funny story. My kids, if you're from Atlanta, I'm from Ohio, and so we study the Civil War for a very short period of time. Really, honestly, they just study it for a short period of time, the same amount you study World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. They just study it and they move on. But in Atlanta, in Georgia, they study that war year after year after year. And one time my kids were maybe in 8th grade, and I think they have a really heavy-hitting Georgia studies class that year, 7th or 8th grade. And this little girl they're talking about the war, and I said, oh, my goodness, this is amazing. It feels like you've been studying the Civil War since you were in kindergarten. And, in Ohio, it was just a chapter in the book. And the little girl looked at me, and she's like, well, maybe it's because you guys lost. And I was like, no, we won. It's like they never tell them that they lost.
No, because in our minds we didn't.
Exactly. And I'm like, y'all lost, right? Like, you lost.
We didn't lose. We just took it.
She said it so sweetly. She's like, Miss Lyle, maybe it's because you guys lost. I was like, no, you lost.
But wait, see, and we are taught the Civil War from the cradle, and we cut our teeth on it, and it's as much of our genetic makeup as breathing, and it's not because of anything in particular except the Southern pride that certain people try to take away from us. They don't understand why we're proud to be Southerners. Well, they got to understand most true Southerners hailed from Scotland and Ireland because the British sent them over here as political prisoners. So we've been fighting all our lives.
Yes. Yes. And that's kind of, I think that's the history of Australia, correct? They kind of sent.
Yes, the same thing.
Yeah. That's why they're so feisty over there. I love them.
Yes, absolutely, because it's, and I didn't realize it until I started studying our family's history, and even my children are 200 some odd years removed from the Civil War, but they are so proud of being Southerners when people who don't know them try to take them on, they really bite off more than they can chew because they can.
There is a sweetness about Southerners, that's real. I mean, they, I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but I bet there's, more beauty queens out of the South probably than anywhere else. They have a real authentic sweetness because that's the way they were raised.
Yes.
It's not a weakness.
No.
They're strong women. They're strong women, but they have this kind of deferential, I don't know what it is, but they're unique. I think they're unique ladies.
Southern, and this goes, again, back, way back. Southern women, we call it an iron fist and a velvet glove.
Ah.
Because on the outside, we may appear to be sweet and kind and naive and innocent, and you can walk all over me and I won't say anything. But if you back us into a corner, hurt one of our children, somebody we love, or just get us on a really bad day, along with bless your heart, which can be an insult or a compliment depending on the context of the conversation, we can get meaner than, as my grandmother used to say, a striped snake.
Yes. Yes, they can.
I've had grown men run from me, and I never raised my voice.
You probably have that look.
It's the look, and it's the tone, and it's the words. Words have power. You know that. Words have power. And
well, it's so funny. My husband and I, we're blended. We're trying to raise 4 kids, and our styles are very different. He is more a bark, a loud person, and I'm not going to lie, I do get a certain satisfaction of staying calm. Like, I asked you to do that and you didn't, and so give me your car keys, and then I'm like, bye. And they're just like, ah, and I do get a certain satisfaction of staying calm. Like, you did not do what you were told to do, and there is a consequence, and there's no need to scream and yell. They know what they did wrong, and they know the consequence. So, and, he gets so angry, but... we're trying, Yvonne. We're trying to raise these nice kids that'll go out and hopefully do something good in the world and help people. That's what we're trying to get them to do.
They'll be fine. Trust me, they will be fine. The thing is, as in being in corporate America, I was in corporate America for many, many years, from the time I was 5 years old. And
that's illegal.
Well, I worked for my father, so it wasn't.
I'm just teasing.
So when I learned that the quieter, especially females, the quieter we talk and the more carefully we choose our words, even when we're there, fire is spitting from our eyes and our skin is splitting from our skull, but the quieter we talk and the more calm we are, people lean in because they want to hear what we're saying. We can be telling them to go to hell, never use that term, and they're asking for directions because they so want to understand what we're saying.
That's my favorite Eddie Murphy. I love Eddie Murphy. So funny. I wish he would do more stand-up. He did, a couple tours or whatever, and then he started making movies. But I love it when he talks about, these, crazy girlfriends or, whatever. And then he's like, but the most dangerous ones are like, that's okay. Why don't you just go to sleep? You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, that's the one you're scared of, the one that's like, that's okay. I'm going to kill you.
And you'll never know you're dead.
Exactly. You will not know if it hits you.
Now, let's talk about Amy. I know, ladies, and just sit back and enjoy the hour because it's going to fly by so fast, and we're going to bring her back, I promise. I found something one of your quotes, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to tape it on my refrigerator. And it says, I'm not a failure. I'm just having a little bit of trouble right now.
That's right. That's my motto. I am not a failure. I'm just having a little bit of trouble right now. Aren't we all?
I love it. Because it's just another bump in the road. We didn't fail. We just fell down for a minute.
I know. I think people are really scared of failure, and I know I've seen that in my own children. They, go the easy route with something because they don't want to fail. And really, everything that you led up to, I think the first few years out of college, you're just figuring out what you don't want to do. That's not a failure. You're figuring out, you're just refining yourself. And you and I have a lot in common with, we both changed our lives later in life.
Yes.
Yeah, and so
and
I don't
years,
look at what,
For years, I thought I was a failure till I woke up one morning. I said, I'm not a failure. I had been afraid to try. That was the failure, not going out and trying it.
Right. Well, when you have a book called The Book of Failures, it's like nothing bad can happen to me. Like, really, the worst stuff that goes on, I'm like, that's just another chapter for another book. So it's giving me this immense freedom, and something beautiful that's come out of it are people that every Friday on my Facebook page, I always put one of my Friday fails. Like, okay, I already know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I went in to get the ice cream out of the refrigerator, and the ice cream is the exact same shape as the OxyClean box. And so I had the OxyClean in the freezer, and I had the ice cream in the laundry room. They're exactly the same color. They literally, I'm going to put it on there tomorrow. They're the same size box, and they're the same weight. They're like, OxyClean's pretty heavy. And so, I'll put that on tomorrow. One time I put on there, I burnt the spaghetti, and then I showed a picture, like, I didn't burn the spaghetti in the pan. Like, I actually caught the box of pasta on fire. And what's so funny is then people, they comment their fails. And it's so funny. And, everybody laughs for a second, and you feel less alone. That's the thing. You feel less alone. And now it's so cute on Facebook. People, if it's Tuesday, they're like, Amy, I cannot wait till Friday. I have to share this fail with you. And it just warms my heart that, like, they failed in some way, but yet they're happy because they can share it and make other people laugh. I just love that. I love it.
Well, and that is so true, because that's all we call the show off the chain. We never know what's going to happen. And because my husband is ill, there's many nights, like today's been a really bad day. So by the time I get ready for my show, I'm brain stupid. I twist over my tongue. I fall over my mouth. I can't get my words out. Do I get upset about it? No, it just is. Let's laugh about it and move on.
I know. What are you going to do?
Really?
I actually have a whole chapter. I cannot pronounce anything. I inherited it from my father. And, my girlfriend is a, what do you call them when they help people? Oh, it's not physical therapist, speech therapist. She's a speech therapist. And so I was asking her about it. And I was looking it up online. I'm like, is it this? Is it this? And she's like, I think it's probably that you grew up in Appalachia. And I did. I grew up in the heart of Appalachia. She's like, she's like, I think that's probably your problem. I'm like, oh, you're probably right.
Oh, Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Off the Chain, and this is your host, Yvonne Mason, laughing with tears running down her face with my guest author, Amy Lyle. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to have to take a break for a minute for me to collect myself. I may have to go to the little girl's room and change my underwear because I might have peed a little. And we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back and talk about getting married, lower your expectations. So we will be right back.
Do you have cougars on your porch swing? Are horses your new best friend? Do your nicest shoes get buried knee-deep in snow as your toes turn blue? Are you bothered by wolves at your woodpile? No, not that kind of wolf. Join wildlife artist and author Nancy Quinn and her family as they discover an exciting new life in Go West, Young Woman, a true Montana adventure. Available online and in bookstores. Or visit QuinnWildlifeArt.com for a personalized signed copy. Critics agree. It's a hoot.
A struggling city, its beloved baseball team, an antique camera, and photos from that camera that bear an image from the pit of hell, an entity only a select few can see. Journalism professor Buddy Cullen is determined to track this demon down. But who is the hunter and who is the prey? And who will be the next target of mankind's mortal foe? Mortal Foe, available at Amazon.com.
Hi, this is Winona and Jade inviting you to join us and our wonderful guests on the And I Thought Women's Cave podcast on Blog Talk Radio to learn more about our book, the And I Thought series, and the Misfit Guides. They're available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNobles.com. Or just to see what your ladies are up to, you can find all of that out on www.andwethought.com. So peace and love from Winona and Jade and our books.
Girl,
You're so
silly.
You silly.
Remember,
did you write that? That's funny.
Remember to visit us at andwethought.com.
The book Ruined Days is at Amazon. Is it true? Travis's dad ruined America's Day on November 22nd, 1963. Travis is still feeling the repercussions. He sets out from Kansas to ruin some days himself. Why? He's really, really pissed. When the same people who killed JFK kills his aunt and a new girlfriend, they become the hunted. Amazon by Gannat Wise. Ruined Day.
The year, 1888. The place, London's East End. Dead and mutilated bodies are popping up all over, from Stamford to Whitechapel. Jack the Ripper is leaving his mark, and the city's on edge. Yvonne Mason is back with a tale of murder and millinery. The Rhodes Hat Factory is booming while the body count rises. Why now? How are these hats connected? Has the Hatter gone mad? Mad Hatter from Yvonne Mason. Available now on Amazon.com.
And we are back with Off the Chain. I'm your host, Yvonne Mason, with my guest author, Amy Lyle, and we are having way too much fun. But that's okay, because it's Off the Chain, and that's what we do here. Before the break, I gave them a little teaser about something that I found that you wrote about called Getting Married, Lower Your Expectations. And boy, howdy, that is so true, because as girls, as little girls, we all have this dream that Prince Charming is going to come in on his white horse and sweep us off our feet, and we're going to live happily ever after. Our children will be perfect. Our home will be perfect. Our life will be perfect. Our hair will be perfect. Our clothes will... I'm getting tired thinking about it. That ain't true.
No, that's not true at all. And I think the message is changing, don't you? Like, when we were kids, growing up, we were loved all the princesses, and that was the message, right? And these you either you fell asleep and you got a man, or you had to change species. Like Ariel was a mermaid fish, then she'd change into a person to get a man. But it was all about getting a man, and I love it. In the last 10 years, the message has really changed to more finding yourself and pro woman, and it's nice. It's changing with the times.
And this is what I taught my girls and my son is, look, before you can have a decent relationship, because no relationship is perfect, but before you can have a decent, good relationship with someone else, you've got to know yourself, who you are. You have to be true to yourself. You have to understand that you have flaws, and it's okay to have flaws, and you can't be picking your mate's flaws out like grapes off a vine and throwing them at them, because you're really picking out your own flaws.
Yeah, and I think that marriage is there's a lot of good things about marriage, and then also it's a lot of laundry.
Yes.
A lot of stuff.
Because we bring our past to the present with us. Well,
and people sometimes get married too soon, or they get into a relationship too soon, or they I read the study the other day. You would love this. And I'd like to know what you think about it and your audience thinks about it, where it said the more people spend on a wedding, the shorter the marriage. And I could see where that would be true. I could see where people get so enthralled with the idea and the over the top when really, you could go wherever you're going to be married at the end of the day, the justice of the peace or whatever. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying you're still married without the giant, $1 million weddings that movie stars have or whatever. And
it doesn't make it any more real, and it doesn't make it any more permanent.
It almost makes it less real, like those poor women on those reality shows when they're doing these, high adrenaline dates. But that's not real life. Like, tell me what happens when you have a bout of the stomach flu, and you're on an airplane. Like, that's real life. Real life is not you're flying, all over the world, exotic places and $10 million homes. That's not real life.
Or when your spouse becomes ill and they're dying and you are their caregiver 24/7, you can't change the situation. All you can do is accept it and take what time you've got and be grateful for it. That's life.
That is real love. That's real love. Because it's past the chemical, like, I just want to jump in bed with you. It's past all that. It's integrity and respect, and that's amazing. That kind of love.
That was another thing that we were taught by our parents and our grandparents.
Mhm. Oh, my grandma used to say I remember when I was getting married for the first time, and she said, there'll be good decades and there'll be bad decades.
Yep.
And there are good decades and bad decades.
And you got to be able to keep a balance and understand that even though you're having a crappy day tomorrow, the sun's going to come up. I mean, today the sun's going to come up tomorrow. So you give it 24 hours and you work through it. And marriage is a commitment. A relationship is a commitment. You don't throw your children away because they screw up and you take their car keys. You don't throw your spouse away because they mess up and don't pick up their underwear. I mean, it's foolish.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm kind of worried about our kids, actually, even though we try to ground them and they do, we have them helping others a lot and try to expose them to something outside of their little bubble and, try to show them the world but they still, the social media impact, I think, on our children, it's just this insatiable desire to be seen and to be liked, and that's really not real life. I mean, your boss isn't like that. I mean, do the project, great, now do another one. It's not all these. It's going to be interesting. Our kids are still, one is going into her second year of college, one's going to her first year of college, and then we have two other ones in high school. And so it's, they've worked as waiters and waitresses and stuff like that, so they've got a little taste of the real world, but it's going to be interesting when they, have, quote, a real job of the shock of, it's just not like that. That's why they call it work.
When their boss yells at them and they can't go to a quiet place with their blanket and their bubbles and their coloring books because there's no safe spaces. It's called the real world. You suck it up and you go on and you say, okay, I screwed up and let me fix it.
Yeah, and it's not about you. I mean,
exactly.
Unless somebody's doing, abusive or harassing or something like that, your job is to make your boss look good. And it's just like our kids now. It's like, but why? And, sometimes I do tell them why, and sometimes I'm like, because I'm older and wiser and I know better, and it's the same for your boss. You know what I mean? It's like, just do it.
And he signs your paycheck.
He signs your paycheck, and good things will come to those that make their boss look good. I mean, always acting with integrity, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not about you. It's not your company, and just because you would do something differently, maybe you can earn the right to discuss that. But right now, just zip it and get in there and,
do it.
Work hard.
Now,
these kids.
They'll find out. Trust me, they will.
They'll know.
Mine did. All of mine did. They all found out because Mother used to tell me, Yvonne, you wanted to start at the top. I said, Mother, I had high aspirations, but I always knew that I had to start at the bottom. But I worked my way to the top. I never took no for an answer, but I did it in such a way that the boss's heads were spinning because of that Southern gentleness.
That's right. Oh, my gosh, that's so funny you say that. I was a nanny in college for these very, very wealthy families, and I really, truly believed that when I graduated from college, I was going to be their neighbor and just buy a house in their neighborhood. Like, I didn't know anything about money or, you know what I mean? I really did. I'm like, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to right next door. And that's not the way it went down, Yvonne. That's not the way it went down. No. So I try to educate my kids on that. Like, that's not how it's going to happen. You're going to, start at the bottom like everyone else.
And real life's going to get in the way.
Exactly. I was so disappointed. I'm like, that's the paycheck for a year? That's what you're only paying me that for 12 months? What?
What?
Are you sure? And who is Pica, and why is he taking my money?
Boy, did reality slap you in the face in a hurry.
Yes. Yes,
now,
it did.
You also wrote something that I can relate to so well, except I reinvented myself in my 50s. You say three reasons women change their lives after 40. One of them has to be menopause, because that's when women usually start going through menopause. and human nature is, as a general rule, by that time the kids are pretty much grown.
Mhm.
Women are either looking for an outside interest or an interest period, because if they've been stay-at-home moms, God love them, that was their world, and their world has changed. And if they don't evolve, then they become old, bitter, and cranky.
Right. That's what that article, I can't believe you found that article. That's so funny. That was a Cynthia Good article. I wrote that a long time ago. And I can't remember, there are 3 R's, but it was, to your point, it was like one of them is reinvent. Like something happened, a divorce situation, or you lost your job, or your spouse passed away, and you have to literally reinvent yourself, or you're fired. One of them is like, reinvest. Maybe you stepped out of the workforce. But it can be done. I mean, people do it, and hopefully you're not thrown into it all at once. I'm sorry, excuse me?
You came out of corporate America. You were a
Yes.
corporate trainer. I know what corporate trainers do. That's a very high-stress job. You came out of corporate America. You reinvented. Not only did you reinvent yourself, you remarried, had more children, blended. See, I have a blended family too, but there's a kick to my blended family, which I'll tell you in a minute. But I went to college at 52, 53 years old because the man that I was married to decided he wanted a divorce because the grass was green on the other side, and I was devastated.
And you had to pay the bills.
Yeah, well, I've been paying bills since I was 5, 6 years old, but because I've always worked. But it was just the thought that one day he decided, okay, I'm done, I'm leaving, and he left me a note, and I thought, well, you. But anyway. So I said, okay, now it's time for me.
Mm-hmm.
I have nobody to answer to but myself. What do I want to do? And I went out and did it.
Yes, that's an amazing story. And, some people can't do that full time right away, right? But they can do a little bit of it. And so if you have a passion for writing, you can start writing, being a contributor for a magazine or an online publication or whatever. Or if you have passion for art, or you have passion for acting, you have passion for whatever you have passion for, owning a restaurant or whatever, you can start doing that part-time to get knowledgeable about it and get some more experience, and then possibly grow it into something full-time. Like not that many people can just go full-on, quit their 40-hour-a-week job and make money in their passion right away. It takes some time. I mean, if you have the financial means to do that, that's great. But most people, why not get started now? If that's something in your heart that's like nudging you, like you should write your own memoir, or you've got this great murder mystery story in your brain, or you've always wanted to learn a language, like you might not have tomorrow, so start now.
Carpe diem.
That's right.
That's Latin, ladies and gentlemen, for seize the day.
That's right. That's the Marine Corps' motto, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Amy, would it be fair to say that men and women, not just women, but men and women get so caught up in the rat wheel of being quote-unquote successful, prestigious, and notable that they forget themselves?
I think that's true, and also your bills sometimes prohibit you from being yourself. You just start making money, and then your lifestyle grows, and all of a sudden you want your kids in private school, and all of your kids, you have this car payment or whatever. And sometimes that's dream killing, it's soul draining. And sometimes I hear, every successful person like Oprah Winfrey or, all these, Bill Gates or Steve Jobs say, it's not about the money. It was never about the money, and now I'm this. And I'm kind of like, But really, could they say that if they hadn't taken the journey? I think only because they had the journey that led to success, that now they can look back and say, oh, okay, it's not the material things that make me happy. But if you've never had, tell that to a really desolate person. You know, my dad always says, like, money isn't everything until you don't have any. And then when you don't have any, you know, that's a real thing if you can't pay your mortgage or, you know, whatever. So I think that's kind of easy for people to say, like, oh, it's not about the money. Well, it's because they have a lot of money, you know. But when you're following your passion, you and I both know we do a lot of stuff for free.
Yes.
You know, you do a lot of stuff for free to get your name out there. And I'm so lucky because I'm in this great community of a lot of women that, you know, we found each other, and one of my girlfriends even does a blog on changing her life after 40, and we're really supportive of each other, and it's so nice, and nobody just quit and started doing it. It was always, you know, they had a real job, and they started, you know, their hobby kind of on the side, making money, and they, you know, within a couple years, they earned enough income that they could quit that corporate job, and it's really exciting, and we try to support each other, you know, all we can. It's really nice.
Well, and I have a brother that's mentally and physically challenged, and one thing that I learned from him is that it's not about how much money he makes, because he doesn't, in the big picture, he doesn't make copious amounts of money, but it's the love that he has for what he does that has made him well-rounded, richer than probably any of us, even the richest person in the world, because he was allowed to pursue his dream and he gave himself permission to make that dream real, and he went after it even when he was told no.
Isn't that amazing? And did you find that when you were writing your book, you just kind of got in the zone? And it's this like happy zone, and you could work on it in the morning, you could work on it at night, you could work on it, get up in the middle of the night with an idea, and people might think you're crazy, and the financial return on that may be big, may be small, but it really didn't matter, and that's not what you were thinking about when you were writing. You just had the story inside of you that you had to get out, and so that's, you know, I hate it when people have beautiful books and they're too shy or they don't know how to, you know, publish it or whatever. They need to get it out and publish it.
What it is they're too afraid of rejection.
Right.
They don't
give
themselves permission to go and make that dream real because they're afraid, what if somebody doesn't like it? Well, not everybody's going to like it. That's a given. I could tell you stories. That's not the purpose. And no, you're not going to get rich, but you have to, not at the end of your days, go shoulda, woulda, coulda.
But I guess, you know, some people, they may, because they got it out and they told their story and it's in the drawer and they can touch it and they can see it, maybe that's enough. But you're right. If you are doing anything in the public eye, anything, I don't care if it's a blog or a podcast or you're a writer, actor, you will get criticized. You're just going to catch people on the wrong day. And I used to get mad about that, but I don't really get mad about it now. I'm really sad because I'm like, if you're reading, you know, a funny memoir, and I'd say in there, I, you know, fell down a bunch of steps and I had, you know, cheeseburger underwear on and my whole skirt rolled up to my bra and I, you know, pooped my pants at a concert. Like, you know, if you can't laugh at life's funniest moments that we've all had, what kind of state of mind are you in that you're so sad? Sad. And so now it doesn't make me mad. It makes me sad.
And they're missing out on so much, Amy. They are missing out on some of the most fun times of their life, and that is the moment that they're in.
I know, and you know what? I think sometimes people that it's so weird people would buy my book because it says it's a funny memoir. I mean, that's what it is. It's a humorous memoir. It's like you mentioned. It's with Tina Fey and David Sedaris and Denny Lawson. It's with Kevin Hart. It's with the other funny memoirs. I do stand-up comedy. And so it's fun. It's weird that I wonder what books they do like, because it's kind of like if somebody cannot laugh at themselves, they normally can't laugh at anyone else either. You know what I mean?
Well,
they're so sad, I guess. It's sad.
I learned a long time ago that if I laugh at myself first, that I
Right.
take away the weaponry from others that might laugh at me. Then they start laughing with me. Then it becomes a big joke, and who cares?
Right. I know. It's so funny how I love the stories of funny people, how their sense of humor arrived. I'm thinking, I'm doing this new comedy bit, and it opens with, I was born in a Midwestern town with Midwestern values, and every night before my sister and I went to bed, my parents were like, before our prayers are like, never miss a day of work, save your money, but above all, remember, you are not special.
I like that.
Yeah, that was my sister and I's upbringing. Like, the world will still spin around if you die. Like, they were, they're very stoic and don't call attention to yourself. And so it's so funny that, so they have one kid that's like, whoa, an actor. And then they have one kid that's, my sister, was a very, very shy, quiet person, but funny in her own way.
Well, for years and years and years and years, I was very closed, very, call it shy, call it afraid to put myself out there.
Sure.
And then I woke up one morning and I thought, well, that's kind of stupid, Yvonne, because you're the funniest person that you know.
Right. You're like, I got to break out of this. Share it with the world.
This is wrong.
And look what you did.
Oh, it just, with the support, the people like you that come on the show and pay it forward, and we've just had so much fun.
Yeah, and you're bringing, I like that what you do is you do bring light into the world. You know what I mean? And you let people highlight their passions, and tomorrow's another day. And, and everybody has a story. I mean, nobody is an overnight success. Nobody is an overnight success.
And
So I think it's very encouraging to listen to podcasts and listen to people, how they got to point A to point B and all the stuff that they overcame, but they kept going, and it worked out. It's very inspiring.
And what happens is people that are out there that say, well, I could never do this because I'm a full-time mom. God love you. That is all the more reason why you should, because you're going to go insane if you don't.
Yeah, and you have a lot of funny stories. You have a lot of interesting stories. If you're not into humor, you have a lot of interesting stories to tell when you're a mom, because so much stuff's going on in the dynamics of the neighborhood, and crazy. And
children, if you pay attention, there's two things. If you pay attention to children and animals, they can be the funniest creatures on the earth.
Oh, yeah. Our kids are fun. I mean, they're driving us crazy, but they are pretty funny.
And they come up with some of the most off-the-wall things.
Yes. Like my husband yelling at my daughter, like, you need to have self-control. And Maddie's like, it looks like you need to have self-control. She's from the mouth of babes. And he's like, okay, you're right. I do need to have more self-control.
Well played, daughter, well played.
Exactly. I'm like, don't disrespect your father. You're right, but don't do that.
She's just calling it like she saw it, Mom. I mean,
I know she does. There's a great attorney position probably in the works for that one. She's very clever. I hope she uses her smarts for good and not evil. Let's hope.
Well, a little evil is always good in a nice Southern woman. Just a little, right on the dark side. Just a little of the dark side, because it makes us mysterious and
makes very mysterious.
Makes people wonder what we've been up to.
That's right. I know it's going to be interesting to see where they land, But I know that, everybody doesn't go from point A to point B in a straight line. Some people, go all over the place. So you have to let them, they know right from wrong, and now they got to
find their own level.
They do. They got to make their own way. So it's
You are not going to
time.
believe this, my dear, but our hour is almost up.
That's it?
Yes.
Wow, that went fast.
Do you see now why I made the suggestion I made? Because we hadn't even scratched the surface of the thing.
I know. I didn't even get to say some of my funny lines, like
I know.
Using Facebook to get a reprieve from laundry and having sex with my husband.
I love it. I love it. See, so you've got to come back.
I would love to come back. That's the greatest compliment a podcaster could give a person is to say, please come back.
Well, see, and that's why I sent you the message that I sent you, because you could practice your stand-up here on the show.
I would love that.
So think about,
so fun.
Remember the suggestion I made to you. Think about it. Let me know. But even if you say
my
no,
answer is yes.
Okay, so we'll set up once a month for you to come back.
Well, let's ask your viewers if they like that.
Oh, they will. Trust me.
Okay.
We'll start it in January. So start getting your little marketing stuff together, and we'll think of a catchy name for it.
Oh, that'll be fun. By then I'll have my second book out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first here tonight. Amy Lyle is going to become a regular part of the show once a month, starting in January. We'll let y'all know the day, and we'll let you know the name of the catchy little show, and it's going to be fun.
And I love collaboration. Collaboration is fun.
Yes, and it keeps you out there.
Yes. I'm out there, Yvonne. I am out there.
Well, we both are. That's why we get along. So with that being said, my darling girl, and I'm serious about this, think of what you want to call the show. And get you some little, however you want us to advertise it, we'll start advertising it, and we'll start blasting it out there. In the meantime, tell the folks where you can be found, where your book can be found.
Sure. Okay, first of all, somebody has a funny fail. I'm wrapping up my second book called The Book of Failures, Friends Edition. And if your viewers have a funny fail about being on an airplane, a ridiculous coworker or boss, a relationship fail, it could be a story or it could be one-liner. And they don't have to write the story. They could just give me the highlights of it, and I'll put it together. And if they're like a writer or they have a blog or something, I would be happy to credit them. Yvonne, if you give me a story, I'll say, contributed, by Off the Chain podcaster Yvonne. I would give you credit. So anyway, they can do that at www.amylyle.me. And my Facebook page is Amy Lyle as well. And my Instagram is author Amy Lyle. And Twitter is Amy Lyle as well. Pretty much if you search Amy Lyle. And the book is the Amy Benninger Chemist Lyle Book of Failures. And but if you just look up Book of Failures, it should come up, in that, or if you remember Funny Memoir, come up under Funny Memoirs.
And it's on Amazon, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, and so exciting, it's in Barnes & Noble, the store. Someone took a picture and sent it to me. That's really rare for a self-published author. I was so excited.
I
was so excited. Yeah, and people can listen to it. It's on Audible, and then, of course, the ebook, and then a paperback. And I was telling Yvonne in the paperback that it's not, there's a picture of me with my dress tucked into my underwear, and they did Photoshop my butt cheeks. My butt cheeks, I'm going to get, those are the butt cheeks that I want, and I'm working towards those butt cheeks, but they did Photoshop them. They look perfect. Perfect.
So I want to thank Amy for being here tonight. She's absolutely hysterical. And tomorrow night we will return at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time here at Off the Chain. And as you know, there's something I say every night when we close the show, and that is people will forget your name, they will forget what you look like, but they will never, ever, ever forget how you make them feel. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to achieve greatness, please don't ask permission. Just go out and do it. Give yourself permission to achieve your dream, because we only go around once. And I hope that every one of you understand that you are special to me, every single one of you, guest and listener alike. And I hope that when we do this show, and even when we're away from this show, that you understand that I hope that I make you feel excellent, because y'all all are very special to me. So remember, we will be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time here at Off the Chain. Go and get Amy Lyle's book. It is absolutely hysterical. It's called The Book of Failures. And learn to laugh at yourself, because life is funny, I'm telling you. Our lives are hysterically funny if we just sit back and look at it and think about it. Nothing is that devastating. Trust me, nothing is that devastating. So until tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, when we once again go off the chain, author Amy, Lyle, and I wish that you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening, and that you love yourselves and love each other, because life is fleeting. Be kind to yourself, be kind to your children, and we will see you here again tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, we're off the air, but everything we say is going up in the archive part of the show. But what I wanted to tell you is when I get off from here, I will, in the show archive, I'm going to put the link up on my page, and I'm going to tag you in it. And this is one of my gifts to you, is you take the show and run with it, put it everywhere. Tomorrow, it goes up on Spreaker and SoundCloud and Mixcloud and Podcast.com and Podcast Garden and iTunes and YouTube and TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, FM.com, Stitcher, and Spreaker. And when I put them all up, I will send you as many links as I can get my hands on so that you can also share those.
Yes, thank you. And, I'll share them everywhere. I wish I had 1 million followers, but I did. I know the woman that runs our county website, and I told her they have 43,000 followers, and they're pretty good. I mean, I can't go on there and be like, buy my book, but I go on there and like, Forsyth County's, own Amy Lyle, featured on, blah, blah, blah. And they're pretty good about letting me do that. And so and they've been good about being interested in what I'm doing. So, but I'll put it everywhere. I'll put it on LinkedIn. I even put it on Pinterest.
Pinterest is good. Sam, you need to hook up with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already.
Oh yeah, I'll look you up. Yeah, I do. I did. I posted this on LinkedIn too today.
Because I am on LinkedIn. I'm everywhere. I've got 5 or 6 different pages, along with everything else that I do. But and also, what night is good for you? If you're not sure yet, think about it. Let me know. So I'll go ahead and put it in the book. And then,
do you have a recommendation, Yvonne, for a day?
The first Wednesday of every month is already locked in.
Okay.
So any night that's good for you, baby. Because this is a that word I can't pronounce tonight.
Oh, collaborative.
That word.
I knew knew what you were thinking. How about Thursdays? Like a
Thursdays?
Yeah.
Okay, Thursday's good. You want to do the first
let's come up with
Thursday?
something cute. I'll think about, let's do something fun with the title, something Thursday.
Okay.
I don't know what, but I'll think about it.
Do you want to do the first, second, third, or fourth Thursday?
Goodness gracious, the pressure. How about the first?
The first, okay. We'll do the first Thursday of every month, starting in January. And it will just be anything you want to talk about. Something that's happened, a routine you're working on, anything.
How fun is that? Carte blanche.
Absolutely.
We could both watch a movie, or we could both read a book and talk about the book. We could do whatever.
This is your hour to shine.
I've never had an hour to shine.
I am just co-hosting the show that night. This is your show that night.
Okay, maybe we do something like Thursday Thoughts or Thursday. I don't know. I'm going to play around with that. So we have a great name.
And we're just going to have fun with it because this is your time to really, really shine.
Well, Yvonne, that is an honor, really, and a privilege for me, and I really appreciate it. I really do. You know how it is when you're starting out? I don't have 130,000 followers. I have 9. No, I'm just kidding. I have more than that, but I probably have about 10,000. But it's an honor. Like, you can have whoever you want on your show, and so to invite me to be a reoccurring guest is, I just want you to know, I don't take that lightly. I take that as a huge privilege, and I really thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and it is my honor and my pleasure. As soon as I read off, I told you I did a deep dive on you. If you haven't done a deep dive on me, I am a bounty hunter.
I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah, so I can find out things that other people can't. And as soon as I started reading about you, I'm saying, I want this woman on a regular basis because she's going to bring another dimension to this show that is growing like crazy. And like I said, it's not my show. It's everybody's show.
Okay, Yvonne, you know, it's a really funny show. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not trying to put negativity in the world. I'm trying to put something funny. You know what we could do? We could read our funniest, worst book reviews because they're so funny and ridiculous.
Oh, yeah,
like I read one and then you read one. Like one person goes, "This book doesn't have a plot," and I'm like, "It's short stories, dude. Like my book's not a novel. It's essays." And he's like, "It doesn't have a plot." Like that's hilarious. So that'd be funny. That'd be a funny show.
That would be a fun segment. Yes,
and then we just then you can laugh about it, and then the whole theme could be, look, you know, we put our heart and souls into these books, and people are saying this, and look, we're laughing at it because that's not who we are, and that's not the intentions of our work. Our work was done in love to lift people up, and so if somebody can't enjoy it, we're going to laugh about it. You know what I mean?
Put that on your list to do on one of the shows.
Okay. We won't do it on the first one because that would be probably too much. But you know, month 3 or 4, when they start to get to know me a little bit better, we'll do it, and we'll both do it, and it'll be so funny.
That would be hysterical. Yeah,
I know.
I love it. See, I knew I would love you.
It'll be so fun, and we should at some point get together on Skype so we can see each other and do like a funny video, and then we could promote it doing some funny videos.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. Okay, well, thank you so much. This was so fun. The hour went by. It felt like 5 minutes.
I know, it does.
Yeah,
You're amazing.
That's crazy. You're amazing.
I feel like I've known you forever, and that's not something I do very often.
I know. I wish you still lived in Georgia, but I could come see you in Florida.
Yes, you could. I have plenty of room.
Yeah, we're in Florida.
We can do a live show from my studio.
Oh my gosh, how fun would that be?
That'd be a hoot and a half.
Yeah, we go to Florida, probably twice a year. We're in Florida. Oh, we're going to the Keys. I'm going to the Keys in January.
Oh, see, I'm on the way to the Keys.
Oh, the Keys are nice. We tried to go last fall, but the hurricane. It was our hotel was underwater.
Yeah, it was awful. Yeah, I love Key West. In fact, if you read The Pink Canary, which is one of my comedy books, it's about a drag queen nightclub in Key West.
Get out!
Yeah.
I'm going to get
it. And I had a premier drag queen help me with the book because she had to introduce me to the culture of drag queens to make it authentic.
I would like to hear more about that.
Well, there you go.
We could talk about that on one of our shows. Researching shows. Yep. You know a lot about drag queens.
Oh, it's hysterical. They are hysterical.
God bless them. They're living their true life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be so much fun.
Well, thank you so much. It was so fun. Now I got to go back to the real world. It sounds like you got to go back to the real world, too.
Tell your family I said thank you for sharing for an hour. I appreciate it so much. And thank you for wanting to be a part of Off the Chain family.
I'm so excited. I can't almost pee my pants. If I jump up and down, I'm like you. I'm 47. If I jump up and down, I've had a baby. I'm going to pee.
There you go. Wait till you get 67 and it gets worse. Hey, that's another show.
That's another show. Things that fall apart after 40.
Yep.
Things that fall apart. Your ass is 3 inches lower. These are real. Ladies, prepare for these things. Exactly.
And your mind goes out to lunch and never returns.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. Put that on your list.
I'm gonna put it on the list. And then we can could even ask beforehand, like on social media. We could tell them, I could. I don't want to make you do more work, but things that fall apart.
Oh, that's it.
We could do it.
We could.
Yeah, it'd be funny because people are like, they never think it's going to happen to them. Like, I never thought I would need glasses. I never thought that my boobs would droop, but they do. I mean, I got new ones,
I used
but
to work
still.
with a girl. And she said that every morning that before she would put on her bra that she would have to roll her boobs up to get them into her bra and sling them over her shoulder.
It's rocks and socks.
Yeah, there you go.
Rocks and socks. We could start a whole brand of bras called Rocks and Socks.
This is going to be a hysterical Thursday.
I know. It's going to be the best day of the week.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I don't know who your guests are, but they're all good. You know what I mean. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. It's going to be lots of fun. All right, my darling girl. I will.
All right. Well, have a great night, and thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. And as soon as you post it, I'll post it.
All right, baby. Talk to you later.
Okay. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.